Penny the pigs. In a sunny little farm nestled in a green valley, there lived a cheerful pig named Penny. Penny was a small, pink pig with a curly tail and a heart full of curiosity. She loved her cozy sty and the muddy puddles nearby, but what Penny loved most of all was listening to the stories the other animals shared. Every night, as the sun set and the stars twinkled above, Penny would snuggle up in the straw and listen to tales from the cows, chickens, and even the barn owl who lived in the rafters. One evening, as the animals gathered for their nightly stories, Penny sighed. "I love hearing your adventures," she said, "but I wish I could have one of my own." "Well," said Oliver the wise old barn owl, "perhaps you just need to look for one. Adventures are everywhere if you know where to find them." Penny's ears perked up. "Tomorrow I'm gonna find my very own adventure." Setting out, the next morning, Penny woke up bright and early. She waddled out of her sty and said goodbye to her farmyard friends. "Good luck," called Bella the cow. "Be careful," clucked Henrietta the hen. As Penny trotted through the farm gate, she felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Where would she go? What would she see? The lost duckling. Not far from the farm, Penny heard a faint quacking sound. She followed it to a small pond where a fluffy yellow duckling was waddling in circles, looking very upset. "What's wrong, little duckling?" Penny asked gently. "I'm lost," the duckling sniffled. "I can't find my family." "Don't worry," Penny said, her heart swelling with determination. "I'll help you find them." With the duckling waddling beside her, Penny followed the sounds of quacks and splashes. They crossed a meadow, climbed a little hill, and finally found a large group of ducks swimming in a sparkling stream. "Quack!" cried the duckling, running to its family. "Thank you, kind pig," said the mother duck. "You're a true friend." Penny felt a warm glow. Her adventure had already made a difference. The stuck goat. As Penny continued on her way, she heard a loud "baa" coming from a nearby field. She hurried over and found a goat named Gus with his horns tangled in a fence. "Oh no," Penny exclaimed. "Let me help." Penny pushed and nudged until Gus was free. "Thank you, Penny," Gus said, shaking his head happily. "I thought I'd be stuck there forever." Penny smiled. "It's what friends do." A starry night. As the sun began to set, Penny realized it was time to head back to the farm. She retraced her steps, feeling proud of the friends she had helped along the way. When she returned, the farmyard was glowing in the soft light of the moon. The animals gathered around, eager to hear about Penny's day. "Tell us everything," Henrietta clucked. Penny told them about the lost duckling and the stuck goat. When she finished, Oliver the barn owl hooted with approval. "Well done, Penny," he said. "You didn't just have an adventure, you became a hero." Penny beamed with pride. She snuggled into the straw that night, her heart full of happiness. And as she drifted off to sleep, she dreamed of all the adventures still waiting for her. The morning after her first big adventure, Penny woke up feeling refreshed and eager. The sun was shining and the birds were chirping. As she snorted and stretched, Penny thought, What other adventures might be out there for me today? Her thoughts were interrupted by Henrietta the hen, who flapped her wings in a panic. Penny, Penny, Henrietta squawked. Disaster has struck. The little chicks wandered off, and I can't find them. Penny jumped to her feet. Don't worry, Henrietta, I'll help you find them. Henrietta clucked with relief. Thank you, Penny. They're so small, I'm afraid they've gotten into trouble. Penny began searching the farmyard, sniffing for any sign of the little chicks. She peeked behind hay bales, under the wheelbarrow, and even inside the barn. Finally, she heard soft chirping coming from the vegetable garden. There, among the cabbages, were the chicks, hopping and pecking curiously. Oh, you silly little things, Penny chuckled. Your mother is so worried about you. She gently herded the chicks back to Henrietta, who flapped her wings in delight. Oh, thank you, Penny. I don't know what I would have done without you. Penny's curly tail wiggled with happiness. All in a day's work. As Penny trotted back to her sty, she heard an unusual sound coming from the woods near the farm. It was a soft, whimpering noise, almost like crying. Penny hesitated. The woods were dark and full of shadows. But then she remembered Oliver the Owl's words, "Adventures are everywhere if you know where to find them." With a deep breath, Penny ventured into the trees. Hello? She called. Is someone there? The whimpering grew louder, and Penny followed it until she found a tiny shivering fawn caught in a patch of brambles. Oh no, Penny exclaimed. You're stuck. Don't worry, I'll help you. Using her snout, Penny gently pushed the brambles aside until the fawn was free. Thank you, the fawn said in a soft, trembling voice. I got separated from my mother. Let's find her together, Penny said kindly. Through the forest. Penny and the fawn wandered deeper into the woods, following the faint sound of hooves. Along the way, they met a family of squirrels who offered them acorns and a wise old turtle who pointed them in the right direction. Finally, they found the fawn's mother grazing in a sunny clearing. The fawn ran to her, and the doe nuzzled her child lovingly. Thank you, little pig, the doe said. You are very brave and kind. Penny blushed. I'm just happy I could help. By the time Penny returned to the farm, the sun had set and the stars were twinkling. The other animals greeted her with cheers. Another adventure? Bella the cow mooed. Yes, Penny said, telling them about the lost chicks and the fawn in the woods. As they settled in for the night, Oliver the barn owl flew down to perch beside Penny. You've had quite a few adventures now, Penny, he said. The stars have taken notice. The stars? Penny asked, tilting her head. Oliver nodded. Tonight, they have a special surprise for you. Come with me. Penny followed Oliver to the top of the barn roof. As she looked up, the sky seemed to shimmer even more brightly than usual. Suddenly, the stars began to move, forming shapes in the sky. Penny gasped as she saw pictures of her adventures. The duckling by the stream, the goat by the fence, the chicks in the garden, and the fawn in the woods. It's a star parade, Penny exclaimed. The stars honor those who bring kindness and courage into the world, Oliver said. And tonight, they shine for you. Penny felt her heart swell with pride and happiness. She stayed on the roof, watching the star parade until her eyes grew heavy. As she drifted off to sleep, curled up under the starry sky, Penny dreamed of new adventures, knowing she would always have the stars and her friends to guide her. The farm was quiet under the silver glow of the moon. Most of the animals were snuggled up in their beds, dreaming peacefully. But Penny the pig was wide awake, staring out of her sty window. She couldn't stop thinking about her adventures and wondering what new surprises tomorrow might bring. Just as she was drifting off, a frantic bleating broke the silence. It was Gus the goat, and he was calling out from the hilltop near the barn. "Help! Help!" Gus cried. Penny jumped to her hooves and hurried toward the sound. "Gus, what's wrong?" "It's Millie the sheep." Gus panted, his eyes wide with worry. "She wandered out of the pasture and got stuck in the bog near the river. We need to save her before she sinks deeper." Penny didn't hesitate. "Let's go." The midnight search. The moonlight guided Penny and Gus as they raced across the fields toward the river. The croaking of frogs and the rustling of leaves filled the night air. Finally, they heard a faint baa coming from the bog. There was Millie, struggling to free herself from the sticky mud. "Millie, we're here," Penny called. "Oh, thank goodness," Millie cried. "I got lost trying to find the tastiest grass, and now I'm stuck." Gus paced nervously. "What do we do, Penny? If we step into the bog, we might get stuck too." Penny thought hard, her little piggy mind working quickly. Then she spotted a long branch lying nearby. "Gus, help me carry this branch," she said. Together they pushed the branch toward Millie. "Grab onto this, Millie," Penny said. Millie wrapped her hooves around the branch, and Penny and Gus pulled with all their might. Slowly but surely, Millie began to slide out of the mud. With one final heave, she was free. "Oh, thank you," Millie said, shaking off the mud. "You're safe now," Penny said, smiling despite her tiredness. A surprise visitor. As the three friends began walking back to the farm, a soft rustling in the bushes caught their attention. Out stepped a sleek silver fox with a curious expression. "Good evening," the fox said in a smooth voice. "I saw what you did back there. That was very brave." Penny felt a little nervous. She had heard stories about foxes causing trouble, but she stood tall. "We were just helping a friend." The fox tilted his head. "Not everyone would go out into the dark to help someone in need. You're a special pig, Penny." Penny blushed. "Thank you." The fox smiled. "If you ever need help in the woods, just call for Finn. I owe you one." With that, he disappeared into the shadows. When they returned to the farm, the other animals were awake and waiting anxiously. "You're all safe," Bella the cow mooed, relieved. "What happened?" Henrietta the hen asked. Penny and Gus told them the whole story, from Millie getting stuck to meeting the mysterious fox. Oliver the barn owl hooted proudly. "Another brave and selfless deed, Penny. The farm is lucky to have you." Penny smiled as she snuggled into her straw bed, feeling warm and proud. But just as she was about to close her eyes, a gentle glow filled the barn. "Look," Millie gasped, pointing her hoof toward the sky. The stars were twinkling brightly. But this time, they formed a new shape: a pig, a goat, and a sheep standing side by side. "It's us," Gus whispered in awe. "The stars are celebrating your courage," Oliver said. Penny's heart swelled with joy. She knew that as long as she kept helping others, the stars would always shine a little brighter for her. As the barn grew quiet again, Penny drifted off to sleep, dreaming of new friends, daring rescues, and the endless magic of the night. It was a crisp morning on Clover Valley Farm, and Penny the pig was feeling restless. The air smelled fresh, and the sky was painted with fluffy white clouds. After so many exciting adventures, Penny couldn't shake the feeling that something even bigger was waiting for her out there, beyond the fields she called home. She trotted up to Bella the cow, who was munching on sweet grass near the barn. "Bella," Penny said, "I've been thinking. There's so much more to see beyond the farm. What if I went exploring for the whole day?" Bella raised an eyebrow. "That sounds exciting, Penny, but be careful. The world outside the farm is very big." "I'll be careful," Penny promised. "And who knows, maybe I'll make some new friends." Oliver the barn owl fluttered down from the rafters and perched on a fence post. "If you're looking for adventure, Penny," he said, "head to Friendship Valley. It's not far from here, and they say the animals there are always looking for brave helpers like you." Penny's ears perked up. "Friendship Valley? That sounds perfect." The journey begins. After saying goodbye to her friends, Penny set off toward the hills that bordered the farm. The path was lined with wildflowers, and the morning sun warmed her pink snout. As she trotted along, she hummed a cheerful tune, her curly tail bouncing with every step. But soon, the path grew steeper and the trees thicker. The cheerful farm seemed far behind now. Just as she began to wonder if she was lost, a soft meow stopped her in her tracks. "Help someone, please." Penny looked around and spotted a small tabby kitten stuck in a bush. Its fur was tangled in the branches, and it was too small to free itself. "Oh, you poor thing," Penny said, hurrying over. Using her snout, Penny gently pushed the branches aside until the kitten was free. "Thank you," the kitten purred, rubbing against Penny's legs. "My name's Tilly. I was chasing a butterfly and got lost." "Don't worry, Tilly," Penny said. "I'll help you find your way home. Where do you live?" "I'm from Friendship Valley," Tilly said, her whiskers twitching. "If you're headed that way, I can guide you." The muddy path. Penny and Tilly continued down the path together. The kitten's tiny paws pattered alongside Penny's steady trot. But soon the path turned muddy and slippery. "Careful, Tilly," Penny said. "It's tricky here." "I'll be okay," Tilly replied, but just as she spoke, her little paw slipped and she tumbled into a puddle. Penny chuckled. "Climb onto my back. I'll carry you." Tilly hopped onto Penny's back and curled up between her ears. "You're the best, Penny." Together, they made their way through the mud, laughing whenever Tilly tickled Penny's ears with her whiskers. The Valley of Friends. When they finally reached the top of the hill, Penny and Tilly stopped to catch their breath. Before them stretched a beautiful valley filled with green meadows, sparkling streams, and animals of every kind. "Welcome to Friendship Valley," Tilly said proudly. As they walked into the valley, animals began to gather around them. There were rabbits, foxes, deer, squirrels, and even a family of hedgehogs. "Who's this?" asked a friendly-looking fox with bright orange fur. "This is Penny," Tilly said. "She saved me when I was stuck and even carried me through the mud." The animals all cheered. "Thank you, Penny," they said. Penny blushed. "I'm just happy to help. But why are so many of you here?" The fox stepped forward. "We've been having some trouble lately. The big oak tree that provides shade for our meadow has fallen over, and we don't know how to move it. It's blocking the stream, and the water we need is drying up." Penny looked thoughtful. "Maybe I can help." The big problem. Penny and the animals walked to the fallen oak tree. It was enormous, with its roots sticking up into the air and its branches spread wide. "That's a big tree," Penny said, "but I think we can move it if we all work together." The animals nodded, and under Penny's direction, they got to work. The rabbits and squirrels chewed through smaller branches to make the tree lighter. The deer and foxes tied vines around the trunk to pull it. The hedgehogs rolled away loose rocks to clear the path. Finally, Penny positioned herself at the base of the tree. "On the count of 3, everyone pull," she said. "1, 2, 3." With all their strength combined, the animals heaved and pulled. Penny pushed with her sturdy legs, and slowly the tree began to move. With one last mighty shove, the tree rolled out of the way, and the stream began to flow freely again. "We did it!" Tilly cheered. The animals all danced and splashed in the cool water, their laughter filling the valley. A hero's farewell. As the sun began to set, Penny knew it was time to head back to Clover Valley Farm. "Do you have to go?" Tilly asked, her eyes wide with sadness. "I do," Penny said, "but I'll visit again. And remember, you're always welcome to visit me on the farm." The animals gathered around to say goodbye. "You're a true friend, Penny," the fox said. "Friendship Valley will always remember you." As Penny trotted home under the stars, her heart felt full. She had set out looking for an adventure, and she had found something even better: a valley of friends who would always welcome her with open paws. When she reached the farm, Oliver the owl greeted her from his perch. "How was your day, Penny?" he asked. "It was amazing," Penny said, snuggling into her straw bed. "The world is so much bigger and kinder than I ever imagined." And as she drifted off to sleep, she dreamed of new adventures in Friendship Valley and beyond. It had been a week since Penny's trip to Friendship Valley, and life on Clover Valley Farm had returned to its usual peaceful rhythm. The sun rose every morning, the animals shared stories in the evenings, and Penny spent her days enjoying the muddy puddles and the company of her friends. But deep down, Penny felt the pull of adventure once more. The world beyond the farm had shown her so many wonders, and she couldn't shake the feeling that there were more mysteries waiting to be discovered. One evening, as the golden light of sunset painted the farm, Oliver the barn owl flew down to Penny's sty. "Penny," he said in his wise, low voice, "I've heard whispers on the wind. There's a place not far from here, a place called the Forest of Secrets." The Forest of Secrets? Penny repeated, her ears twitching with curiosity. Oliver nodded. It's a place filled with magic and mystery. They say animals who enter often come back with incredible stories, but only if they are brave and kind. Penny's heart raced. This sounded like exactly the adventure she'd been waiting for. Setting out. Early the next morning, before the other animals had stirred, Penny packed a small bag with some apples from the orchard and set off toward the forest. The sky was bright and blue, and a soft breeze rustled the trees. The path to the Forest of Secrets was marked by tall, ancient trees with twisted branches that seemed to reach for the sky. As Penny walked, the air grew cooler, and the sunlight dappled the ground in golden patches. After some time, she reached the edge of the forest. A wooden sign stood there, its letters carved deep. Welcome to the Forest of Secrets. Enter with courage and leave with wisdom. Penny took a deep breath. Here goes, she said, stepping into the forest, the whispering trees. As Penny wandered deeper into the forest, she began to notice strange things. The trees seemed to hum softly, as if they were whispering to one another. Every now and then she thought she heard her name. Penny, Penny. Who's there? She called out, her voice echoing through the trees. A squirrel with bright golden fur scurried down from a branch. Don't be afraid, it said. The forest knows who you are. It does? Penny asked, wide-eyed. The squirrel nodded. This is a magical place. It recognizes kindness and courage, and it will guide you to where you're needed most. Penny wasn't sure what that meant, but she felt a strange warmth in her chest. She thanked the squirrel and continued on. The Lost Fox Kit. Not long after, Penny heard a faint sound, soft crying, like a tiny voice in distress. She followed the sound through a thicket of bushes and found a small fox kit sitting alone, its tail curled tightly around itself. Are you okay? Penny asked, stepping closer. The kit looked up, its eyes watery. I'm lost, it said. I was chasing fireflies, and now I don't know how to get back to my den. Penny's heart ached for the little fox. Don't worry, she said. I'll help you find your way home. The fox kit climbed onto Penny's back, and she set off, listening carefully to the whispers of the trees. They seemed to guide her, pointing the way with their rustling leaves. After a while, they reached a clearing where an adult fox was pacing anxiously. Mom, the kit cried, leaping off Penny's back. The mother fox ran to her child, nuzzling it with relief. Thank you, she said to Penny. You are a true friend. Penny smiled. I'm just happy I could help. The Enchanted Pond. As Penny continued her journey, she came across a shimmering pond surrounded by flowers that glowed faintly in the shade. The water was so clear that she could see her reflection perfectly. But as she stepped closer, her reflection began to change. Instead of her usual pink snout and curly tail, she saw herself wearing a crown made of leaves and flowers. What is this place? Penny whispered. A soft voice answered from the water. This is the Enchanted Pond. It shows you not who you are, but who you have the potential to become. Penny stared at the reflection. Could she really become someone so special? You already are. the voice said, as if reading her thoughts. The words filled Penny with a quiet confidence, and she thanked the pond before continuing on her way. The keeper of secrets. Eventually, Penny reached the heart of the forest, where a massive tree stood. Its trunk was wider than her sty, and its branches seemed to touch the clouds. At the base of the tree sat an old, wise-looking tortoise with a shell that shimmered like gemstones. "Welcome, Penny," the tortoise said, his voice deep and kind. "You know my name?" Penny asked, amazed. The tortoise chuckled. "The Forest of Secrets knows all who enter. You have shown great kindness and courage, and so the forest has brought you here." "Why?" Penny asked. "To teach you an important truth," the tortoise said. "Every act of kindness you do, no matter how small, creates ripples that spread far beyond what you can see. The animals you've helped today, the fox Kit, the creatures guided by the trees, they will carry your kindness forward." Penny felt her heart swell. "I've always just wanted to help others. And that is why the forest chose you," the tortoise said. A gift for Penny. The tortoise reached into a hollow in the tree and pulled out a small glowing acorn. "This is for you," he said. "Plant it on your farm, and it will grow into a tree that brings joy and comfort to all who rest beneath it." Penny took the acorn carefully. "Thank you," she said. The tortoise nodded. "Go now, Penny, and remember, the greatest adventures are the ones where you make the world a little brighter." Home again. When Penny returned to the farm, the sun was setting, casting a golden glow over everything. She planted the glowing acorn in a sunny spot near her sty and watered it gently. Over the next few days, the tree grew faster than any plant Penny had ever seen. Its branches stretched wide, and its leaves sparkled in the sunlight. Animals from all over the farm, and even some from the nearby woods, came to rest beneath it, sharing stories and laughter. Penny's heart swelled with pride. The Forest of Secrets had given her more than an adventure. It had given her a way to spread kindness every day. And as the stars came out each night, they seemed to shine a little brighter, as if celebrating Penny's courage and compassion.